This is I Should Be Writing, Season 21, Episode 1.
But I should be writing. I should be working on my craft. I should be writing. I should be submitting my next draft. But I'm sitting home watching Doctor Who.
Hi there. Welcome to I Should Be Writing. This is a podcast for wannabe fiction writers, and I'm your host, Evil Mur. Yes, I am here to give you a message of hope after the holiday season. And, Mur decided that I was the best person to deliver this. So, if you don't know me, my name is Evil Mur. My alter ego, Mur Lafferty, has published about 8 books. Why can't I think of this number? I wonder if I'm influenced by David Sedaris' 6 to 8 Black Men essay. But anyway, I've written and published about 8 books around that number. Several novellas, and I have been podcasting for 20 years. I didn't do anything for my 20th last month because it felt so monumental I couldn't think of anything cool enough. But I have been podcasting for 20 years now. 20 years. Oh my God. I feel like I'm going to crumble into dust. But currently, if you search for I Should Be Writing or my name on any podcatcher, you'll find this podcast, or you could see us live on Twitch Thursday afternoons, 3 o'clock Eastern Time. Usually. Maybe a little bit late, but usually. I have been, I wrote a little bit over the break. Not a ton. But one thing I did do was, I thought I brought it in here to show it off. I did not. Well, you guys don't deserve to see it anyway, because I gotta remember I've got a mustache on, and I'm Evil Mur. I did start a sort of creativity project journal, as endorsed by Grant Bachoco, who is a longtime podcaster as well, and is the hand and voice behind the Toiletty Paper, the puppet on Instagram and TikTok. And we've been friends for a while, and he's been doing some productivity videos. And one of his first ones, maybe his first one. Anyway, it talked about doing Jim Henson kept a creativity journal where he basically just wrote what he did every day. And this isn't like a long time thing. This is like a couple of sentences. Worked on this script, brainstormed that thing. And I really liked that idea because that doesn't mean the whole commitment of needing to, if you write it down, that makes it serious. And if it's not fully fleshed out, you can't make it serious yet. And so don't write it down. I'm going to be talking about getting out of my own way later on this month. So I made one of those. Went to the beach. I think my message of hope for 2025 is quit. I know you've been questioning yourself. I know you've wondered if you can do this, if you're good enough to do this. You've wondered if you're better or worse than your friend who you say you support, but secretly you're just like, my book's probably better than his. Why didn't I get a deal? And I think it's time to just, quit. A quick pause. Hopefully I'll remember to cut this out. Because the Inkden just put in the chat, celebrating a little over 300 sales of my first fan module in 6 months. That's fantastic, the Inkden. Congratulations, and thank you for sharing your good news and some gift subs to our audience. So yeah, we're talking about quitting. Why should you quit? Well, as I get older, I sometimes have this thing where I know that something's going to happen. Either I'm going to buy something, or I'm going to give up on something. And I fight it in my head. Like, I don't need that thing. I don't need to spend the money. Or I can't quit that because I still have some energy left, whether it's mental, emotional, whatever. But I know it's eventually coming, so sometimes I just think it's good to cut the middleman. Why not just buy the thing? If I don't want to do it, why not just quit? Right? So, what do you gain out of quitting? I know that's what you're asking yourself. You gain peace of mind. You lose the jealousy of looking at your friends and seeing their career flourish, because since you will not be a writer, you will not be jealous of them because you chose a different path. You actively chose it, and you're happy on that path. You can free up some bookshelf space of your craft books, because you don't need those anymore, but also of the books that people you know have published, because reading those will remind you that you once wanted to be a writer, but you don't need that reminder anymore. It will free up your desk space, because since you won't be going there to write, you can have it for other things. It's just so much easier, you know? Hopefully by listening to me, even as Mur, you know that this thing isn't going to make you money. Not really. And there's a lot of stress involved. A lot. I get migraines if I work too hard because my neck gets all tense. Just throwing that out would just be better for my physical health, right? But if you're thinking that I'm giving you bad advice or that I'm being silly, all I'm doing is suggesting that you make a choice. And remember that if you're not writing, and if you're questioning everything, and if you're jealous of your friends, and if you think you're garbage and you think you'll never, ever, ever get published, and that makes you not write, then walk away. Clean break. Because if you're not writing, you're already there, but you feel guilty because you haven't chosen that. Whereas when you say, I want to quit, and you walk away, you'll know you made the choice. I was talking to someone at a convention last year who said that it was an older person, an older writer, and I asked him how he was doing, and he's mentioned that his good friend, who he's kind of had, their careers had gone in similar directions over the past several decades, that his friend had decided to quit. And it's making this person feel adrift and confused. And I thought, well, that sounds awful. Good on the friend for making the decision, but you can still keep going unless you want to make that decision too. I don't think you want him to make the decision for you. So when I went to Viable Paradise back in 2005, oh my God. Excuse me while I crumble to dust again. When I went there, kept up with some friends afterwards. And one person wrote to the group, I think what Viable Paradise told me was that I don't want to be a writer. And I'm quitting. And I respected that a lot more than I respect people who, I've done this, by the way. I'm not saying I'm above y'all, but just the people who get despondent and just kind of stop. Because when they're despondent and just kind of stop, they're hoping for something to fire them up to get them writing again. But that something has to be you. If you get something outside, that's great. But you can't count on that. It's a lot easier just to quit. Think of the money you'll save. You'll save money on craft books. If you attend cons, you can save money not going to cons. And, hotels and bar bills and all of that. You can save money on printer ink, software upgrades. You really can't justify a fountain pen collection anymore. I mean, I guess if you draw two, but whatever, sure, tell yourself that. Why is this a message of hope? Because you don't need any more stress in your life. Things are stressful right now. And this is the easiest thing to cut out. Yeah, I gotta take the mustache off. Ugh. Kills me to talk like that. It really does. But there's a smidgen of truth. A smidgen. Because you are absolutely free to make that decision. And you should never feel bad if that is the decision you make. You shouldn't let anybody else make you feel bad for making that decision, because if they get mad, it's probably they're projecting. Because I remember the feeling when this woman said she was done writing. I remember that feeling of, I was scared, honestly. And my first thought was, you can't do that. Because if you do that, then that's something you can do. And then that might mean I do it. No, I don't like that. So if you think about quitting, take it to the extreme. Imagine everything in your life that will change because you've decided not to be a writer. You'll probably have to go in and edit all your social media info tabs. You should go and unsubscribe from a lot of newsletters or services, anything that you took on as a writer. I suppose you could attend conventions as a fan, but won't that just hurt? And I think when you think of everything that will have to change in your life after deciding to quit, I'm betting you're just going to think it's a lot easier just to write. Extricating myself from this world I've built around me for 25 years. It's just easier to write. But yes, I think people told everybody where to find your emotes. Please feel free to use them. That's what they're there for. They are designed, many of them, most of them? Right, I can't see my emotes because I don't even know. Yeah, they're pretty much all designed by Numbers Ninja, my kid, over the last 4 years. I have all of the bullies in there, and I was very proud of that. But then I realized I don't know how often people feel driven to post a writing bully, especially because I haven't really talked about them much. But all of the bullies are in there. There's Bart, who is the potato in my head. Basically just gives a general sense of you suck. Breakover, thank you. These are the happier ones, or don't feel like bad things, because these are the party, which is telling you that of course you'll write, of course you'll be big someday, but not right now, because there's this fun thing to do. And then there's the pink one, the nap. Needs no introduction. I just had my kid draw 6 possible bullies that would stop you from your writing. We've also got the sponge, which is, I was very, very careful to tell my kid, I don't want SpongeBob SquarePants, but I do want a sentient sponge. And so we got the sponge. That was fun. One of my favorites. And then there's the despair, which is like a puddle of tentacles. And then there's the blade, who's a lot like the first bully that looks like a potato, but a lot meaner. Anyway, so those are my various bullies in the bully emotes. I keep wanting to say, no, I don't think you should quit. This is just a joke. But really, you know that when you feel like you want to quit something, or to take a drastic step somewhere, like you're a kid and you're going to run away from home, and you tell your parents, all right, I'm done, I'm going to run away. Then the parents, they can tell you you're being over dramatic. You're not going to do that, blah, blah, blah. Or they can say, okay, well, let me get your suitcase and let me help you out. Here's a couple of bucks for the bus, and good luck. And that's not what the kid wants to hear. Because anybody who wants to run away doesn't threaten. They just go. And I think any of us, most of us, not any, not all, but most of us, if we sit there and complain that we want to quit because this sucks, and it can suck. This whole creative thing can suck a lot. But when we think of quitting, then I think we should metaphorically go and get our suitcases and fill them up with our teddy bears and our writing books and whatever you use to write, a Chromebook or your computer. Throw your pens in there. Throw all your blank books, all of them, and see how that makes you feel. You might call your own bluff. It doesn't deny that you're hurting. It doesn't deny that you feel very little hope. But it is a wake-up call. You can choose. Do you quit or don't you? And if the answer is you're gonna not quit, then keep listening. Keep coming back. We'll talk about how to keep going. And if you want to quit, I don't think your writer friends will shun you. We won't shun you. Do what you need to do for your own mental health and physical health. I mean, who hasn't felt the whole repetitive stress injury thing? But that is it for the podcast version of I Should Be Writing. We're going to keep going in the chat, or rather in Twitch. And if you want to hang out for the entire episode, you can either support via Patreon at patreon.com/mightymur or Substack, which is mightymur.substack.com, where you can get the full unedited episodes. Or come see us live, twitch.tv/mightymur, Thursday afternoons around 3 o'clock Eastern Time. Or you can enjoy this shorter and edited version, which is also the bad stuff's mostly edited out, so that's a good thing. But if you want to contact me, my email is mightymur@gmail.com. And my blog and show notes over at murverse.com. I don't know where to put just general posts anymore. Blogging feels so old. It feels like LiveJournal, even though LiveJournal was a blog. I have some Midsummer Murders episode reviews I want to do, and I did one yesterday and had a lot of fun. And again, that's another one of those things where I'm like, does anybody want this? But then I thought, no, I want it. Because I have these thoughts about these episodes, and some of them are really weird, and some of them are just hysterical. And I want to talk about them. So I'm going to be doing, but I don't know where to put it. Do I make it Patreon stuff? Do I make it Substack? Do I do both? Do I just put it on my blog? I don't know. Too many questions or too many places to put things. Executive function cannot handle this. So if anybody has any advice, I'd love to hear it. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you next week. And until then, you should be writing. Thank you for listening to I Should Be Writing, the longest running writing podcast in existence. This episode was made possible by the Fabulous, who support the podcast via Patreon or Substack. Join the Fabulous at patreon.com/mightymur or mightymur.substack.com. Theme music provided by John Anelio, art provided by Numbers Ninja, and podcast hosting provided by Libsyn. This episode is released under Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives 4.0 license. You can find all of my books and podcasts at murverse.com.
I should be writing. I should be submitting my next draft, but I'm sitting home watching Doctor Who. Yeah, I'm sitting home watching Doctor Who.